petition, Mr. Norman Mitchell.
You want me to come up here,
Well, we got pretty much gotta get you.
Well, I circulated a petition, to enact a moratorium in the town of Dixfield. It was signed by 200 citizens. I understand that 192 of those were verified registered voters. I know that petitions have been brought before this board before, and have been told that they weren't, a legal or a fair representation of the town. But I want the town fathers to take into account that this was, as many people, has changed our select board in this last election. So I think it is a fair representation of the town. What the people in this town want from our town fathers is to feel protected. We have in the past been promised things, promised votes that didn't happen. And that is the concern that we're gonna get a chance to have a vote, that nothing's gonna happen before we get this chance to have a vote. And the people in this town would like to actually have a vote on 2 ordinances and 1 vote and be done. Have a more restrictive ordinance and the Clark Donahue ordinance as well on the same ballot and be done with the issue. So I got nothing else to say.
Don't go away, you're on the next one too.
That's right.
There were 192 signatures, is that my understanding?
Verified
That happened to
signatures, yes, verified votes.
We opening this up for discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree when he says that, we as a select board should protect the citizens of Dixfield first, not the wind developers or any other corporation that wants to come into town. If there are that many people that have expressed concern, about protection in regards to development or permit applications or anything else involved with that project until we have all the answers, and I don't really feel confident that this select board has all of the answers for the citizens at this time. So I do feel that a moratorium is an important matter, and I feel it's a necessary act for us to vote on.
Did I say something? Yes?
In light of what Tom here has said, the citizens are gonna have a chance in November to either approve an ordinance that's on the table or turn it down. If they turn it down, then so be it. We're not gonna have wind power, to my knowledge. Nothing is gonna happen between now and November that would warrant having a moratorium in place for the next 3 months or 3.5 months or something. So I don't think there's a need for it.
That being said, 200 people bothered to sign that thing. They're very nervous. They took the time to do it. What I'm feeling on this, I understand that Tom sat here and explained and showed us paperwork and how it's gonna proceed. He has another project in place already. He's saying that he's not gonna do a bird study until next fall. So that's the next thing on his agenda. We don't see a petition here from 200 people saying that they don't want a moratorium. I keep hearing people say, well, we don't need it, we don't need it. You have 200 people that went out of their way to make sure that they had security from what their fear are. If he's not gonna do his bird study, the moratorium is only good until the election. I don't see no harm in it, and then you have nobody banging on your door, because then they have, you have 200 people that are worried about it right now. They have no reason to say anymore until the election about it. This would kinda ease everybody. I know he's not gonna do no more, he basically
No,
just
he
sat there and
just
said
said
it
that.
until next fall.
He said
So
his wind studies are
other
done.
than his wind study, which we won't know anything until he can find out if he can tell us or not, it's a 2-month period, or 90 days roughly, to the election. I would be for it. That's, if it's not gonna mess, it's not gonna mess up any more of his wind studying. If it was an important thing, they would've set it back up when it came down. They kinda
That's right.
waited until now. So I would say I'm in favor of it.
Yes, I speak. When we decided in May to move that to November, have a clear vote, yes or no, on a wind ordinance that's pro-wind, I felt that that was the best thing that we could do for the town. It's the most important vote that they're probably gonna have in a long time. I this just muddies the water this time, makes it confusing, and I'm not in favor of it. So,
Again, I just would reiterate that I think
Well, as it
the-
stands
the
on this
people-
moratorium vote right now, it's 2-2.
well, we
So,
haven't,
I'm
we
just
gotta
saying,
have a.
if it even comes up, so it's still 2-2, it was gonna be 3-2. So if you vote to bring it up, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's still gonna be a sticky situation, no matter what we do with it.
Yeah,
I just don't feel that I don't feel we're acting in the best interests of the citizens if we turn our back on their voice in favor of the wind developer. These are the people that live here, pay their taxes here, raise families here, work here, and I just feel strongly that we should respect what they're saying, before we do the wind developer. We know these people that have signed this petition, known many of them for years. The wind developer is just a company. You have to look at it that way. And I would put my trust in the people of Dixfield before I put my trust in anything the wind developer had to say at this time, as a corporation looking to make money. So again, I say I support it.
So the other day, I was told that we're gonna make me pro-wind sooner or later. And I kinda laughed, because I am pro-wind to a point, it's just the project and the results of it for this town that I'm having a problem with. So I need to be more, how do I say this, more secure in what I know about it and how it's gonna be good for everybody in the town versus the people inside the little 2 or 3 mile circle. So with these 200 people going out of their way, Norm going out of his way to get signatures, there are a lot more out there. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as I found over the last 3 months. There are a lot more people out there than I thought would do it, so that are not in favor of it for whatever reason. So we still got till November, to see if you can make me feel that way, but until then, I'm for the moratorium, just for the security of the people who go out of their way to do this. It may be redundant that they keep doing it because they believe in it.
You want a motion so we can
let's
go ahead with
get
it?
a motion, yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the
We renew the
petition and
moratorium.
that we renew the moratorium.
I second it.
Point of order, you're not renewing a moratorium, you'd have to start a new one from
All
scratch.
right.
This
You
will
guys can
require
discuss
a
changing
town
the date
meeting.
on it, that's all.
Special town.
Special
Special
You
town
have to,
meeting,
yeah.
and
So we'll vote on that,
Yeah.
actually, not on the actual moratorium, we'll vote on a special town meeting to
Well, you would,
allow a vote on the moratorium.
you would have to instruct me to craft an ordinance, which should be fairly easy, that I would bring to the selectmen, then you would have a warrant, then you would set a special town meeting. So we would start that process if you accepted the petition.
What was the paperwork that said what we had to do is change the date on it to reenact the moratorium?
It may be as simple as that, I don't know.
Right.
Okay,
You
I've
know.
seen paperwork.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, we need
An
an
instructive
ordinance, we need to set a special town
Yes.
meeting and voting dates and all that. And I would just like to point out that, believe it or not, there are people that are in favor of this project.
Yep.
Not everyone feels they need protection, not everybody feels that this is bad. A lot of people come in my office,
Yeah.
we talk, as you know, I mean, it's the center of town. And a lot of people have expressed the desire that the windmills are gonna be a good project for Dixfield. They believe in clean energy, they believe in what it's gonna do in terms of the tax base and what it's capable of doing.
And I think a
So
special
I
town
just
meeting-
want, I just think that needs to come out because nobody's saying that.
Well, I'm glad it
And I
came
think,
out.
and I think someone needs to say it on behalf of all the people that do not wanna be confrontational, that do not wanna come to meetings and confront their neighbors.
I think
But
the
they
issue-
tell me, they might tell other selectmen that, hey, you know, this is a good project, let's get on with it, let's get going. So there is a voice out there that I am hearing, maybe you're hearing some positive stuff too, I don't know, but it's certainly more than,
So that is our dilemma. This is what I've been telling him, and this is what I've been telling people all along, is I've been trying to get the people who say they're in favor of it to come out, all right, say why.
it's very difficult.
We run into that the last town meeting, Catherine was getting ready to say something, and Bob was saying something, and everything got stopped.
I just think there's two issues.
Right.
People that are in favor of it,
So people in favor know how the people that aren't know feel.
they may be less impacted
Yeah.
by the people who aren't in favor, depending on where they live, number one. But number two, if you enact this process, and we have a special town meeting, so that they can vote on the moratorium. Those people are welcome to come out and vote against that as well. They have that choice. It's not just a special meeting for the people opposed to wind who want this moratorium. The other people have the right, just as well as anybody else, to come out and cast their vote too.
We've been pretty calm about it between me and Hart, talking to people, talking to you guys and everything else. It's not that we wanna get a screaming match with anybody, and we're not sitting here telling you you're wrong if you're in favor of it. We're looking for people, you tell us why you're in favor of it, we can tell you why we're not, and, you know, go from there. But it's still a vote on 2,800 plus people in this town. And in my impression, and I've only been on this board a short time, I've only been going to town meetings for a short time. A 2-mile radius in this town has dictated what's gone on for a long time to me. You know what I mean? This is what I hear from a lot of people. People outside the town don't get a say too often. Now, most of these people on this list are outside the town. If you look at that 200, you don't find too many of them that live in town, you know, the majority of the list. So that.
Did you go in town to collect these?
I did. I actually purposely came to town, randomly selected streets. Probably somewhere around 70 of those signatures are from people in the village of Dixfield. The thing that I wanted to make clear though, was that there are probably, I found virtually, I probably could have had another 50 or 75 signatures from people who told me that they were not registered voters. They as well are residents of this town. But I did have, there's probably 5 or 6 signatures on that petition from people who told me that they supported wind, but they wanted to have the moratorium in effect and a chance to vote once and for all on a choice between ordinances and be done with the issue, because they don't feel safe by not having a moratorium either. That they're afraid that the wind company will build the wind farm under the DEP rules, and people that support it don't want that to happen either.
Well, I think you heard tonight from Tom Carroll.
We've heard a lot of things, that's the issue, is that people don't feel confident in what they've been told, that's
But
the whole issue right there.
I think Tom is a victim of what happened in the Partridge Bridge or whatever that project is when it got started. And then people decided that they wanted to do something about it and they got threatened. That's kind of what his company is a victim at, and it's probably not correct and right, but people have heard, you know what I mean? And from what I understand, that's why a lot of people are nervous about it. There's a lot of big money floating around and a lot of people with no money and struggling to pay their bills and wondering what's coming to them next. And they don't want someone just feel, you know, want a little security out of the deal from their town.
So I think we're going around in circles,
Yeah.
You have a motion on the floor to accept the
If I
petition,
can
we have
make
a
it,
second?
yes,
All right, we done with discussion?
I'm done with this stuff.
Yeah. Those in favor of accepting the petition? Raise your hand. 2, those opposed? Motion fails. Okay,
Just before we continue, thanks Noah, by the way.
Yeah, yes.
I know it's difficult when you go out and do this and you get signatures, because every single signature wants to have a discussion.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time, so thank you very much.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Well, I think the next one's
Wind
kinda-
Ordinance Committee?
It's kind of redundant without the moratorium to think that we're gonna have a committee to write another ordinance. I don't see how it's going.
I don't know, I actually think it'd probably be a good idea to have something in place, you know, some discussion going on about it, even if it's not.
Well, I'd like to see another one, that was the issue about that, was that to see a committee enacted, because we had an ordinance that was written by a group of people who sat in front of the town and told us they were all pro-wind. Every single person who was involved in that, all the board of selectmen, all of our town officials sat here and told us they were pro-wind. I think the people in this town would like to have a ordinance written by people who maybe weren't pro-wind, or maybe were impartial.
No, I